So guys, Professor Udenta on Arab News was able to dissect the current crisis in Nigeria, how the Tinubu government have improved the country, and you'll be shocked to hear most things he said in that video. And these are among the persons I love his analysis, because he's fearless. He will hit the nail at the head. He will tell you the exact facts you need to hear. Though some persons don't like him, some persons are saying that the man does not know how to do analysis, but to me, I think he's a very good analyst. He analyzes things very well. Just take a look at what he said and how he analyzed how we are now in the 18 months of President Tinubu government. Take a look at that video and then you can hear your views.
Let me begin from, or maybe take a step back and begin from somewhere that is more holistic. Then we dive down into the narrow domains and sites of politics and contestation of ideas and search for power. The Bola Tinubu presidency launched itself with an air of restrained triumphalism, because his agenda was maximalist, as against minimalist, incrementalist method of governance. Audacity of hope. Subsidy is gone. That's maximalist. It's not minimalist. Naira flotation sending shock waves across the physical and monetary policy landscape. The expectation is that a year and a year half, this maximum agenda of reconstruction of Nigerian political economy will begin to yield results. We've seen now in the past 18, 19 months, heading to 2 years, of hope transforming itself into hopelessness. Of a nation under the grip of what one can call stasis and paralysis, motion without movement. A numbing sense of a nation slashing towards Golgotha, certain level of perdition, both in politics, both in security, and revamping the economy. So looking at the political terrain, you have to, fold it around these broad issues of governance that would not be able to, with the billions and trillions raised from removing subsidy, put food on the table for the people. The prices of staple food items and drugs and so on have risen astronomically. They've not come down. The transportation cost is high. School fees haven't come down. Rents haven't come down. Nothing has come down. And salaries are frozen, meaningless. That means where has the trillions gone? The problem is that rather than focusing diligently on the issues of governance, some noisy aides of the president are like a pack of wolves descending on any voice out there, contrarian voices that try to talk sense to the president and his team. I'll mention 3 instances before we get to the politics. Governor Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State and German PDP Governors Forum raised issues, policy-based issues, in a very restrained manner about the tax reform bills. And said the president needs to consult with the people. They at the subnational level feel the impact more. And this thing had to be managed in a compassionate and equitable manner, so it's egalitarian in nature. What happened? All manners of officials of the government, rather than listening carefully, not the messenger, but the message, ultimately led by the Foreign Affairs Minister himself, who left his remit of Foreign Affairs to delve into the politics of governance at the local level. A country where ambassadors haven't been placed for 2 years, going to 2 years. A country under his watch, where ECOWAS has imploded for the first time in our history. I can go on and on and on there. Yeah. Now, recently, there was a conference on strengthening democracy. And the former governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, who was instrumental in deconstructing the Buhari presidency in the north and paving the way for the emergence of this current government, spoke about the death of even the party itself, APC, not just PDP or Labour. The party has not held conferences and conventions and meetings of all the critical components. Therefore, it's not even a one-man show, it's a zero-man show. What happened? Everybody in that government pounced on him, like I said, pack of wolves, including hired guns. Rotimi Amechi, governor of Rivers, in the same forum, said he don't take political power in the sense of casualness. It's a matter of intentionality. It must be intentional and be spirited and measured. That's what they did to get power. So those seeking to take down this government must be the same. What did they say? He's fighting against democracy. That is what will bring us to the guardrails of democratic governance, which I will pause at this stage.
We'll move into it now. But the president has said, and just like you and I know, change will always come at times with some pain and a time of gestation. And that's what the presidency and his team has said when they say Nigerians, be patient, because, just like a woman giving birth, pain is always the harbinger of a new birth.
Okay.
So that's what
I know that. Somebody in some other country has been in power for less than 3 weeks. And the world is shaking. And the US feeling that its grand institutional designs, its sense of forbearance and consensus building have been upended in 2 weeks with radical results. Mexico pouring insurgents today.
Radical results that do not...
I'm not going to measure the moral content. I'm talking about the efficacy, the capacity to use weeks and months, not years, to bring in precise, radical, decisive change of any note, whether positive or negative. But Mexico today has a lot of troops on the border. Same with Canada. That Guatemala is taking in people who have been deported in weeks. That means if the president is ready with his team on day one to hit the ground running, we don't need to punish the people of this country for 2 years, going to the 3rd year soon, for a gestation period without end. Like I say, motion without movement, some idea that something is happening. that in the land there's a lot of noise and heat, but if you drill down in empirical and verification of what is going on in the economy, you don't have that sense. We're exiting this period of pain in such a time. There's a window in which this darkness enfolding the nation, not just the poorest of the poor, the upper middle class are feeling the heat aggressively. We abate that in terms of the quality of life, the quality of medical health service delivery, the quality of all the major indices that make up a complete wholesome life in the system that build human infrastructure to secure human security. Sometime it will happen. We don't know when, the first quarter, the second quarter. It is like, as I said, slouching, somehow, snoring towards a certain level of perdition. That means the three agendas set by the government, we don't even see a sense of coherence and cohesion to say, revamping the economy, we walk through two critical foreign policy formulations or reforms. Remove the subsidy, float the naira, and some other things in between. It has not yielded nothing. In the next 1 or 2 quarters, INEC will unfold its timetable for the next election. By May next year, the presidential candidates of all the parties, including APC, will be known. The campaigns have started.
Now, let's begin to now bring it home, because we talked about overview of the various parties in our democracy. I had Prof. Okeke here. He said the position is not just throwing out press statements, but if the government in power churns out a policy, you should be able to get out a policy to counter that policy that people can look up to you. I said that because the BOT of PDP just finished their meeting. Udoke is now the national secretary. Damagum was conspicuously absent. What do you read into that?
Okay.
What, of course, has been playing out in an opposition party
okay.
that's supposed to give the ruling party you're talking about a run for their money.
Okay, good. Now, let me tell you, broadly speaking, democratic governance is anchored on the paradigm of guardrails. It's like having guardrails in your house to protect the kids, particularly from falling over. Sometimes they're wire meshes, so they can fall off. 4 key guardrails protect our democracy. And this government has utilized the instrumentality of the criminal justice system, particularly, and repressive apparatus of state to tear down those guardrails. Number 1, multi-party democracy. That's what they're talking about. The crisis of the PDP is not a crisis of definition or crisis of identity. It's a crisis of the control of the soul by Queslings, those who are transported from outside inside, to destroy the coherence of the party.
Are you saying?
I say Queslings. If you know who a Quesling is in Norway or some Nordic country during the Second World War, a general, a warrior of the people, sold his soul to Nazi Germany and turned against his people. That means Quesling is like a traitor.
Yeah, because I hope you're not towing the line.
No, I hope you're not towing the line. I'm not talking about any individual. I'm saying that if you have a party that has lost election, the idea for the party is to recover. What if the government of the day is intent on emasculating multi-party democracy for the president to have an easy run in 2027? You will not allow PDP or Labour. You talk about PDP, I'm not talking about Labour. Labour is splitting into 3 or 4 factions.
Of course, I'm bringing
because and so it's not by accident that both the NMPP that claim to have a convention the other day, we don't even know whether it is 1 or 2. Labour Party that seems to be the hope of the people, seeing what happened in the last election. And PDP is been a domain or the reservoir of elite intercourses in terms of power agitation from 1998 to now. Are all in their street, fighting for their lives.
Who do you blame?
It's not simply because they don't have the capacity inside, but because, as I said, the guardrail of democratic governance at the level of multi-party democracy is being torn. But it will be resisted. That's why they resisted.
Are you not aiding the opposition parties in what, in some quarters, they have called incompetence?
My idea, let me tell you what I do. As a scholar of political science and society, I used to have an empirical, dialectical view of reality. This is not something for PDP against PDP or anybody against anybody. When a leader of a party, APC, said we've not even have a party, the ruling party, you've not called a BOT meeting, you've not called a NEC meeting, how they have called an NWC meeting, you don't have state councils meeting, that's not the opposition party, that's a ruling party. The idea of even paralyzing the ruling party to have a zero-man show is because don't want the party to grow.
Let me get
so I'm telling myself this on
let me get you. If I get you, you're trying to put the blame of PDP being squabbles, Labour squabbles, NMPP squabbles on the ruling party?
I'm not trying to put the blame anywhere. I'm telling you that the organized intent of this government is to ensure that in 2027, the President of the Federal Republic will have an easy ride. The only way to have an easy ride to weaken the apparatus of the parties and have the means. Parties run on resources. Parties run on idea of, do we have fear somewhere? The government of the day has enough muscular veins in terms of the state apparatus, which can utilize, the justice system can utilize, the EFCC can utilize, characters they can embed within all these parties to ensure that the party keep on in the state of flux and ferment. It's been done before. It's not like it's a spectacularly new something. It's happened before, even at the birth of this republic, happened in the Second and Third Republic. Ruling parties typically do not allow opposition parties to breathe. I know it is their duty to ensure that they breathe well and organize themselves. But I'm telling you that the logic of self-survival and perseverance on the part of the ruling party is that PDP, Labour, NNPP should be weakened for us to win elections.
No, but then I'd ask you, this let me not call it a game. It's what somebody has described politics as survival of the fittest. Do you agree with that?
It depends on the moral imperative you want to use in judging politics. Politics is Machiavellian in nature, which means a moral politics run by sociopaths. It will be described right. But when politics has a moral content, that means the politics is the service of the greatest number of people in society. That means politics is servant leadership. Politics is not by power to help society. That is not right.
Now, the court has decided that Abure is the chairman, remains the chairman of LP.
You see, the fetishization of legalities and the constitutionalities undermine, not just in Nigeria, across the world, positive, productive outcomes. The courts can decide. That doesn't mean human beings have decided.
Okay, that's the point.
Human beings must, in aggregate number, agree on a certain set of principles and values and beliefs in order to say, the courts stay. That's why we started the ADR method, alternative dispute resolution, the multi-door court system. So when you have adversarial issues and issues of contestation at the court level, it doesn't really mean anything. You can win there, but you lose.
Let me read to you what Lukman, who was a member of the NWC of APC, said. He said that he's advising Atiku, Obi, Kwankwaso to abandon personal ambitions, and build a stronger party that can serve as a formidable opposition to APC.
I'm coming to that. He's not even identifying individuals. He must identify tendencies and movements. As important as individuals are, I will speak more. My friend spoke about 3-4 key individuals. I'll speak more about 3-4 key movements. To say the political parties, the nationality groupings, labor centers, civic bodies must band together for this salvage mission. Because to save Nigeria is to save our democracy. And it's under threat. I thought only of one guard ray, inter-party, multi-party. I thought of civic spaces. Look at beside you, near you here. You find the place called Unity Fountain. It is not gated. It's a criminal offense to even come to that space and protest. That's where they use this, bring back the girls to secure power and legitimacy and to delegitimize Jonathan and his presidency. Today, to whisper a word there against this government there, they wave hello. There's a cyber crime somewhere, there's a stalking somewhere. To say illegal IGP is now a criminal offense. So we have used that to weaponize the justice system to go against civic spaces and then shrink them and disempower them. Labour, I'm sorry to say, in spite of your intro, since the president of NLC suffered the FEX police invitation and then they arrest and release at the airport, something seems to have gone out of Labour. I was thinking in terms of the severity of the pressure on them. It's only Labour that can display the safe. But that center must be recovered because you don't just say, to increase tariff means there must be consultation. Ab initio, that is placing the cart before the horse. He didn't do consultation. He didn't talk to anybody. And the Labour said, we are going to go on strike. You must carry out that strike for a day or 2 or 3. Because you're not even consulted. Now the government set up a 10-man committee to say, we're going to consult what we should have done. This is like the tax reform. You didn't consult anybody. When you are now head to ransom to say, what do you mean by this? Oh, we're going to now consult after the deed is done. So Labour centers are now under severe stress as part of the gathering shrinking, critically the media. Sorry to say it, mainstream media, a lot of whispers out there that only the social media is alive and breathing and well, and possibly centers like this. So if you have the media infrastructure already constitutionalized, civic liberties, press freedom, under severe stress, parties under severe stress, civic spaces under severe stress, Labour, it means it's a grand design, not just at the political front, but the multiple fronts to ensure that this country's democracy limps into 2027 with a predictable outcome.
Are you throwing away the place of internal democracy being one of the banes of, if you like, let me not say failing democracy, but let me say a democracy that is not growing at the pace it should grow? Internal democracy of parties.
Yes,
people have pointed out that that's a huge problem.
Let me put
the BOT.
Let me put it this way. Clinton was a president and he came calling 20-something years ago. He said, this democracy you wanted to embark upon is a very complex, difficult, tedious exercise. Sometimes it will not yield the result you want. Democracy is conversation. Democracy incarnates and engenders conflict, even the creates mechanism to resolve conflicts. You and I are describing a Ferrari body car with a Volkswagen, wagon engine. So the body looks clean and beautiful, but it can't win a Formula 1 race because the engine is sluggish. So I, as a scholar, if I take the prism of scholarship, I will render the system completely inchoate. That means there is nothing to write home about it. I'm not a practical person who knows the limitations. I'm not going to. That's the different what I'm going to propose because there won't be time for me to even propose it here. The idea is that I will look at a more practical, empirical, incremental part of our democracy. That means internal democracy is vital and is important. Party philosophies are important. Ideology and foundations are important. Organizational matters are important. Coherence are important. But we don't have them so much now. But democracy can't wait until you have them. That means the building blocks of democracy is trial and error as we move on. But for those of us who are watchdogs, who founded this republic, who paid our dues, bearing the title founding national self-reliant democracy predicates me on the history of the formation of this republic. I speak about it with authority. authority and confidence because I was part of the production. Even though we may have some congenital abnormalities, those abnormalities are not so overwhelming as not allow us to forge ahead in building and contributing and strengthening our democracy. What happens is that at every turn, say for example, the presidency of Yar'Adua, not because he was PDP or any other party, I'm a servant leader. I'm inclusive and compassionate with the Niger Delta. I can shake hands with those whose hands are bloody, okay? I can talk about multi-party democracy, talk about rule of law. He started to civilize the system, to bring the culture of civility in terms of governance. Look at Jonathan, how he hesitated. Some people could have blogged in and said, don't call that election result, hold it off. He considered before the final states were counted. The blood of this of the people of this country.
No, but we'll have a constitution. If he loses an election.
I'm saying that we don't even know that he was almost like suspecting that the numbers will not match for him. 24 states were standing. If you have the numbers and as a president say they can match, why drag this out? Why keep the country under suspense? Why do something other countries, other leaders have done in other countries? Apprehended the process of announcement. Asked INEC to do it otherwise. He didn't do it. What did he do? He wanted democracy to survive, to endure, even when internal democracies are not working well, even when ideologies are not there, even when philosophies are not even embedded in the soul of the parties. But he have some presidencies where you find at every drop of the heart, not in some aids, what in the communication sector and even in the ministries, they seem to beat down on people like Bala Mohammed or Erufai Sawadi because you put out a position voice to say, Mr. President, listen to the people, listen to their beating heart, listen to their bestialized souls, listen to their sense of indignities and dehumanization, and try to be compassionate. And that will now attract all manners of insufferably extreme measures and censure. The point is, whether democracy is mature or not, whether it is still nascent, we must nurture it with care. Any attempt to go overboard, overreach, because we have power and resources.
But the point is,
the country itself may be lost in the bargain.
But the point is, are the opposition parties living up to its billing?
Well, they are.
How?
In a way, I'm watching. Let me put it this way.
I mean, almost all the political parties are on steady.
Let me put it this way. Yes, that's what you see visibly.
That's what we see. That's what we hear.
I'm telling you, politics is a function of both the visible and invisible.
Generally.
One of my mentors, I'm happy to make a joke out of it, told me in the past, politicians are ghosts. They never die. And because they're shadowy, ethereal figures, dwelling in zones that are indeterminate, you can't police them. If you think you've caged PDP using constitutional legalities to say 12 governors, 40 or so senators and reps will deny you the use of your party, and the world will see you as weak, be rest assured that party will rebound in some form or the other. Same with Labour, same with NPP. So once the politicians are alive and well, and they're struggling day and night to secure their party, to rebuild their party, and you're doing the damage that you can from outside to stop them doing so, it's a contest of wills. At the end of the day,
should be concentrating on this side of the argument, and they should be doing what they ought to do to give the ruling party a run for their money. I had Senator Ningi here yesterday. He said he's been a founding member of PDP. He stayed there. He's still there with the problems or challenges they have. Let me call it challenges, But some are living, in the house, in the NAS. Now moving over to PDP. Labour is moving over to PDP.
You know how you give a ruling party run for the money? It's not by carrying placards alone. It's not by the party shouting from.
No, but I said it.
I'm saying the chairman of the Governors Forum has consistently maintained a position with his fellow governors. He never speaks alone.
Yeah.
He speaks for the entirety of the PDP governors, either at NEC, that's the National Economic Council, either at other forums, either at themselves to say, this is the stand of our party for the governors. BOT chairman, Mwabara, doesn't speak for himself as Mwabara. He speaks for the party. When you have the NAS caucus, the PDP Governors Forum, the BOT speaking, there's some issues within their NWC from what we can see. Speak for the party.
The NWC is divided.
That is how you give the ruling party a run for their money. It's not by too much of noise, but by critical measured voices.
Prof. Ikechukwu said, I did mention this at the beginning. Professor Ikechukwu. Okay. He said, opposition is not just throwing out press statements, speaking out loud. It is, the government has introduced a policy, float the naira, petroleum subsidy gone, tax reforms, that and that. What is your own counter policy?
Okay, fine. You know the way you do the counter policy? First and foremost, we have a wise saying. If you secure the land, you secure the mart. If the land is under contestation, the mart becomes anybody's affair. What is the land? The soul of a party. When you lose a party, you lose momentum. You lose membership. Sometimes in Nigeria, you lose direction. It's not like the Labour Party abroad. It's not like the Republican Party of Trump. You can lose for two cycles. Institutions are well established and they can endure. So members remain because they're ideologically charged and fired up. Here, the ideological foundation is weak. That means, why would I be in PDP when APC is there? They're sharing things. A lot of thousands of jobs being shared. Some senators could say, I can't get a good committee job.
You didn't blame APC. That's what PDP was doing when they were in power.
Yes, it could well be. I don't hold a brief for that. I'm saying, this is what you're fighting for. The soul of your party is survival, is institutions, is structures. If you secure that relatively good enough time, like a PDP, Labour, and others could manage it in the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months maximum, you say have a year and a half in which you can then match the ruling party, policy for policy, measure for measure, ideas for ideas. Now you can throw those ideas out there. Then you can use a spokesperson and keep the party's hope alive.
Don't you see that if the parties roll with this paradigm, because I mean what you said, Mamodu has said that, Ologuabo has said that, even Atiku mentioned that, but there is allegations of bribe, which LDP, Labour Party countered and said, speak for yourself, don't speak for us. But if you go with that paradigm, don't you think you're weak? The party will never, we will never have an opposition in this nation.
Opposition.
If you're going to be blaming an external force.
They're not blaming. What you do is identification. If you have a problem in a party, you must identify where it is coming from. If you can identify the source of your problem, you cannot solve the problem. Increasingly, the source of the problem of many opposition parties, not just in this era, in previous ones, is the party in power. They too want to survive. They too want to exist. But beyond that, we're not even dealing with parties alone. The other three categories are as important as the parties.
If you don't have to leave it here.
Yes, you don't have a powerful democratic force to really guide the nation out of this mess. The parties themselves cannot even do the job alone.
Do you want to start talking about this government, what they've done? I'll tell you what they've done. Naira was around how much when they came in office? Was around 700 Naira when they came in office. Now Naira is around 1617. Fuel price increased times 2. The exchange rates increased times 2. Transport fare increased times 2. What again? Many things, even importation fee increased even times 3. So everything is on the increase, and then the salary of people are not even increasing. The minimum wage they say that is 7,000 Naira have not been implemented. And then tell me how a normal Nigeria should survive in this kind of economy or this kind of crisis happening in Nigeria. Because Nigeria is in a state of crisis. We are crying right now because nothing is working. 18 months in office, not single one thing was achieved. Not even one thing was achieved. Go to Abia State, a lot of improvement. Go to River State, improvement. Go to Enugu State, improvement. Nothing will I say that this Tinubu government have even improved in Nigeria. Nothing. If you know, you can tell me in the comment section. But to me, I don't think anything have been improved in this country called Nigeria ever since Tinubu came in office. Everything was now worse, like more worse than when he even came in office. Because when Buhari was there, at least Naira and things were affordable then, at least. But now most things are no longer affordable. To eat food now is a problem. You cannot even think of where your next meal will come from, because one bag of rice, one pint of rice is around 8,000 Naira. How much is your pocket money? How much is your salary a month? And then you have to feed your family members, you have to pay school fees, you have to do this thing. This is the level where we are in Nigeria, and it's so bad that we're on this level. So I like guys to air your views in the comment section. I'll be you guys in a minute. Stay tuned guys in my next video.